can you talk me through like what your offseason outlook on the Blackhawks is and what you think could kind of pop up out of the blue?
Yeah, it's quiet. Like you call it busy season, but it's quiet, or at least for another week. It's quiet here a little bit, where there's things in the background being worked on a little bit. But yeah, I don't know. I honestly I'm not expecting a ton this off season. I think at some point during the season, I thought that Marner or Nick Ehlers or a big bang was coming, and from everything I've heard, I've been sort of swayed the other way, where I don't think any of that's happening. I think the Blackhawks are willing to move draft capital, and they'll be more aggressive than that than they've ever been. But I also I don't know how many teams are actually looking for draft capital. I think there's so many teams around the league that are that they feel like they can win the cup and they're a player or two away, or they're just kind of. I think a lot of GMs feel pressure to win, so there's a lot of aggressiveness in moving coaches, and I think you'll see that in free agency and trading, where people are yeah, they feel like they can add the right piece, and then they can be successful. Blackhawks have a lot of things where they just don't have a lot of is probably assets and players that they want to trade, and they have an assortment of veterans, and I'm not sure how much trade value any of those guys have, and the Blackhawks aren't really willing to move on other than Lucas Reichel, probably any of the younger guys. So I don't know what's going to happen. I think the Blackhawks are they're willing to listen, and obviously having a third overall pick, I think there could be some interest in having a third pick. There's obviously some sort of excitement for fans too. You have this potential difference maker that could join the lineup, and so yeah, I don't know. I think yeah, I think last season I knew. The Blackhawks were going to do a bunch of stuff. I just didn't know what. And then you obviously got Teravainen and Bertuzzi and everyone down the line. And you add in the Levshunov, Demidov debate and all that. It was really a really interesting offseason. And while there's a lot of chatter this offseason about Marner and Ehlers and trading the third pick and offer sheets and all this, I just as of now I don't anticipate much. I think a Donato contract is still possible. And if they sign Donato, that I think that also may reduce how aggressiveness or how aggressive or how much Kyle Davidson feels like he needs to do this offseason. So, when you look at the roster and knowing that they want to prioritize the young players, other than Connor Murphy, I think it's going to be six other young defensemen. You look at Spencer Knight and Arvid Soderblom. And then you look at the lineup, and I think Ryan Green and Oliver Moore and Landon Slaggert, and then those guys typically get guys look at a chance along with Savoie and the Colton Dock, and then you added in obviously Bedard and Nays are the staples. But I think the Blackhawks are going to push more and more of those young guys. And who knows? Nick Lardis can come to camp and wow them, and he earns a spot. So I don't. And the fact that there is sort of, at least Danny Wirtz's perspective, there's this patience still, and allowing Kyle Davidson to see this rebuild through that I don't. Yeah, I guess at this point, I don't imagine the Blackhawks are doing anything. Certainly I'm yeah, I think it's good for all of us when we have a lot to write about and talk about, and certainly it's nice when those fireworks happen. But as of now, right now, I'm preparing for a quiet off season, other than having a top draft pick.